Well, hello, everyone, and Mary and everybody else who's on the call. Thanks for joining us for our media briefing on this Monday. We've got a lot to cover in this hour, so we're going to get started. First, we're going to talk about an upcoming virtual town hall for all of our wildfire victims from all the wildfires that have burned and are still burning. And we're going to start with the information on that with Supervisor Mary Adams, who's joining us to kind of give us a reason why this virtual town hall is so important for our residents.
Well, this has been a pretty exciting couple of weeks, and a lot of people who live in the 5th District have been impacted by the fires that we have been having, and not just in the 5th District, but throughout the entire county. As you probably are aware, all three of the fires, the River Fire, the Carmel Fire, and the Dolan, all have been within the 5th District. So it's a particular burden on the people who are the constituents for whom I'm able to serve. So we thought it would be a good idea for us to have a fire recovery virtual workshop where we're able to have people call in, and we're going to be doing it by it's a Zoom meeting. So you can either Zoom in, or you can call in, or you can watch it as it will be streaming on Facebook. But this is an opportunity for many of the people who have been impacted by the fires to ask questions and hear presentations from the various areas that will be of importance to them in their effort to recover. So as an example, just before I go on, I'll let you know that we're going to have a simultaneous Spanish presentation as well. So people will be able to listen to it both in English and in Spanish, and they will be able to ask questions both in English and in Spanish. I'm going to be co-chairing this with Chris Lopez, who is the 3rd District Supervisor, who also is being impacted by the fire. We were at a meeting the other day, and I told him, I'm sending you a gift. And he looked at me and I said, it's called Dolan, because the fire was just cresting the mountains and getting ready to go over to his district. At any rate, what we're going to be focusing on is first we'll do a little overview of the recovery, the various things that are going to be possible for people to get help with. The next area that we'll go to, we'll talk about emergency repairs that are going to be done, particularly to like the infrastructure, the county, state, and federally owned areas that have been damaged that we're going to be working on. And then we're going to have 2 presentations on debris removal. The first will deal with household hazardous waste, and that's going to be presented by the United States Environmental Protection Agency folks. And then the second one is going to be done by California Office of Emergency Services. And that will focus more on the construction materials, the things that are, the things that are at a person's house after it has been destroyed. And I want to let people know that both the debris removal for the household hazardous materials, as well as the debris removal for the construction materials, that is all free to people. It's free to people as long as you follow the process. And I know this has been a little bit hard, and I've received a couple of phone calls about it, because in order for us to be able to ensure the safety of people as they want to go back to their homes or look for things at their property, we have got to allow this debris removal process to go through. And it does require the EPA to take a look at the property. But my understanding is that we're heavily deployed with people who are able to go to do this. So we're not having to wait for lots and lots of people. And then the next segment will be dealing with financial assistance, and that will be done by FEMA as well as the Small Business Association. And this is for both homeowners and renters. And then we will finally focus on watershed recovery and mitigation. And this is going to be the emergency repairs and protection that we need to do to ensure that our watershed and our water source is protected. We'll go into questions and answers after that, and that will be the focus of the meeting. It starts at 5:30 and we'll go to 7 or 7:30, I think, depending on the numbers of questions. It's quite clear to us that we're going to be doing, and we have a need to do, a lot of community meetings like this. So while this is going to be for everyone, some of them I think from my perspective, we should be focusing on specifically the areas around where the River Road area is, the damage there, as well as out in the Kashawa to ensure the people there are getting the information they need, and then also over in the King City area. So that's what the plan is. I'm looking forward to having an opportunity to hear concerns from people and to understand what their greatest needs are now so that we're able to help them and can provide the services that they need. I have been out to visit all three of the fire sites actually, and it was so devastating, to drive through the Kashawa area, particularly up in Sky Ranch and Trampas Canyon, to just see these beautiful homes, people's dreams just destroyed. It's really, really something. And the same with the canyon. I drove out through that above the River Road area, and it's really devastating. Fortunately, there have been a number of homes without question destroyed in the Dolan fire. And I'm pleased that we've got some great folks from United States Forest Service who have been working on that. They brought in Cal OES. And I simply cannot say enough about both the Big Sur Volunteer Fire Brigade and the Kashawa Fire Brigade. I mean, you talk about some dedicated people. All of the firefighters have just been amazing, absolutely amazing. I was going to the morning briefings at the over at Toro Park when primarily for the river and the Carmel fire, and just seeing these folks who put their lives on the line from out of state even coming over to help us with our problems is really impactful. So that's it. I'm sorry I've gone on for so long, but I did want to let people know what it is that we're planning, and that's tomorrow, 5:30.
Thank you very much, Supervisor Adams. And for those who are interested in listening in, I'll be sending around a flyer that has the Zoom information and other information you might need to participate or listen in. Now we're going to talk with some of the staff who will be involved in that town hall to talk about, what are concerns that people have. Some of our staff have been through fires before, so they know what some people's concerns will be and what kind of questions they're already getting. So I'd like to start with our staff from the Resource Management Agency. I see Frida Escobar was on the line, and if she can pop in again, we'll get started with her. Hi, Frida.
Hi, how are you, Maya? Hello, everyone. Well, what I've been doing is really reaching out to the folks that have been impacted. I, too, had an opportunity to get out in the field with Mr. Bowling and firsthand see the devastation along River Road. And it's really, it's sad, but we're here to help. And my staff and I have been reaching out to those applicants that are starting to the conversations with regards to the rebuild. We are coordinating very closely with the health department. Nikki Feller and her team is coordinating with the counter, helping folks with the next steps with regards to application and what needs to happen. The folks that I've spoke with, and I've asked that the applicants contact me as their first point. One, to ensure that I'm able to assist them through the online application process, to ensure that we have the application on file and that it's on my tracker. So to ensure that, one, they are receiving the expedited processing that we're offering for them, and they have the priority. If I can go ahead and share my screen with you, Maya. Let me see. This is actually what we are, first and foremost, one of the questions that we are getting is, am I covered? Am I eligible for a fee waiver? And this guide is one of the first documents that I do share with the applicants and the public that is inquiring. It's pretty self-explanatory. It goes through the insured versus uninsured. We all know that every applicant in application is different. So what I ask is before any, to please not make an assumption, to call me, and so that we can coordinate a Zoom meeting with the applicant, and then also bring in other subject matter experts, whether it be from planning, building, environmental services, and or health is participating in these conference calls as well, to give the applicant firsthand information of what needs to happen first, and just help them plan out their next steps. So it's a challenge, but just want to reassure the public that we are here to help, and to please reach out to me if they do need assistance, and my contact information is right there.
Thank you, Frida, very much. And I see Josh Bowling is also on the call. Josh, is there anything else you could add on from the planning side of this process?
Well, for me, it would be more on the building side. Like Frida said, we are here. We're committed to help. One of the things we are going to be doing is all the applications that come in for fire rebuild are going to move to the front of the line. That will be one of our priorities we'll be working on. We want to assist the property owners to get back into their properties as soon as they can. Another thing is, as the board resolution came through, some of the questions we're getting is, am I going to be able to live on my property as I go through construction? And the answer to that is yes, with certain guidelines. There is guidelines within the board resolution and some review that will need to take place prior to permitting that. And of course, we will need the sites free and clear from the EPA first. We want to make sure everybody's safe. So those are really the two biggest questions. How are my permits going to go? And am I going to be able to live on my site while we're rebuilding? So that is what we're trying to do, and we're here to help.
Thank you very much for giving us this overview. And now we've got Rick Encarnacion from Environmental Health, and his part of this process is really the health and safety of people who are going back to their properties, which is not easy. Thanks for joining us, Rick.
Thank you, Maya. Yes, we are working in partnership with RMA on the building side and the rebuild and providing health and safety information. Like what Frida mentioned, it's a good part to take into account health and safety information as you go through the rebuilding process. There are some specific procedures and steps to take with regards to cleanup. And as Supervisor Adams mentioned, there are cleanup services being provided at the federal and state level, which is great, at no cost to the property owner. So just everyone keep in mind, I know there are people that really want to get everything going, and the county is here to help everybody out. The health department, resource management agency, all of us together, working together to get people back into their homes and get people's homes rebuilt. We do have common questions with regards to proper cleanup. I could refer people, the best source of information that we have online, because there's a lot of information on our webpage, www.mtyhd.org/EHB fires. That's EHB fires, Environmental Health Bureau fires. We have a ton of information for people to browse, download, and as always, if there's questions as you're going through the rebuild process, the team here working together with building will get you to the right person to answer the questions.
Thank you, Rick. And I also wanted to pass along, the county has a recovery webpage which has a lot of information for people who are going to be going through this process. And it would be really good for you to take a look at that if you are someone who's impacted in this way. And it's not too hard to get to. It's our regular website, www.co.monterey.ca.us/recovery. And that will give you a wealth of information about this process. Now I'm checking to see if Laura Neal from Department of Social Services is on the call yet.
I just found the link. I didn't have the link, so I was struggling to find the link. So sorry about that, everybody. I'm here.
Great. Oh, and it makes me very happy that you're here. We're bringing in Laura today to talk about a very interesting aspect that people may not be thinking about in terms of distance learning and how this is affecting foster parents and foster children. So Laura, talk about what you're going to be doing for these families.
Okay. Oops. I'm sorry, everybody.
Nice to have you back.
Yeah, thank you. I didn't have the link and then I realized I was muted. So I just got the link, so I'm here. Hello, everybody. I'm Laura Neal, the Deputy Director for Family and Children's Services. And we're very worried about our kids in foster care and their distance learning. And so we have a scheduled town hall meeting tonight from 6 to 7:30 to speak with, or tomorrow evening to speak with all of our foster parents and the Monterey County Department of Education foster liaisons. It's a joint effort between us and the liaisons to reach out to our foster families to really figure out what it is that they're missing, what is it that they need to fill the gaps to help educate our kids to the best of possible of their abilities, and to find out what their challenges are so that way we can do some problem solving around that. We have about 230 kids in foster care right now.
And so what are the things that you think you're be filling in the gaps? If you share a little bit of that.
Yeah, so we just want to ensure obviously that everyone has Wi-Fi and you know, maybe a foster parent might need some respite to help some younger kids do some school age. For the older teens, you know, they might be juggling multiple age kids in their homes at any given day with different learning needs and different schedules of learning as well, because some of the kids are on hybrid schedules. So just trying to unpack how they're doing, what it is that they'll need further support, and that we can link them to either services or we can provide something more to help smooth that transition, not only for the foster parents, but also for our kids. And our foster parents deal with a multitude of daily issues, not just the needs of the children, their own children, but also the birth parents of our children. They have visitations that the kids, that the parents and the birth parents and the kids have weekly visitations. So the school activities and functions have to go around those very important weekly visitation schedules. So we just are really anticipating more about schedule than anything, but they might surprise us and give us more tangible things that they might need. But we really want to just fill that gap for them.
Thank you very much for kind of helping shed a light on this. And Laura, if you would stay on the call in case we have any press questions after all of our presenters are done, I'd appreciate it.
Thank you, and I'm so sorry I was late.
Oh, you're fine, you're forgiven. And now we're going to pivot to to COVID and health issues. And Rick from Environmental Health is back to talk about COVID and litter. And there have been a lot of discussions now about people not disposing properly of masks and gloves. And Rick, tell us how that is impacting litter issues.
Sure. First and foremost, the county does have a litter program, and it really is a constant message that we need to put out, whether or not we're in the state of COVID. Litter really is a personal responsibility for everybody here in the county to keep everything in the cart or keep everything in the can. Just a reminder, masks and gloves, they're not recyclable, so they don't go in the recycling bin, but they should go, if you're not going to reuse your mask, if it's a single-use mask, make sure they're properly disposed of in the trash receptacle. The last thing we need right now is more issues to deal with. I know everyone is having a hard time in these difficult times trying to be reminded of basic sanitation issues such as washing your hands, not going to work if you're sick. But another thing that we also need to keep in mind is the environment itself and keeping litter in its place. Specifically masks, single-use masks and gloves. Just please, just as a reminder for everybody to keep litter in its place and to keep it in the cart or in the can.
Thanks very much, Rick. And then we do have Dr. Moreno on the call. He doesn't have a presentation, but he is available to answer any questions that you might have. And I see one popping up. So if there are any other people with questions for any of our presenters or Dr. Moreno, this would be a good time to send them in. And I'll start, Dr. Moreno, I see you. I hope you are on the call because I've got a question for you.
Morning, Matt.
Good morning. Here's our first question. Only 18 new virus cases were last reported. Has the health department been able to determine the reason for the wild fluctuation in daily cases in the past couple or few weeks?
So thank you, Matt. So we report cases as they come in. It depends on whether the laboratories are reporting to us in a timely manner, or if they're waiting a day or two to report to us. So a lot of that change, some of the change in the numbers are due to that. The other thing is that the OptumServe sites are performing fewer tests on the weekends, I believe, because they're open mostly during the week. And so on some days we'll get smaller numbers, and it's typically the weekend numbers are lower, and that's, I think, large part due to OptumServe not doing as many tests on the weekends.
All right, thank you for that. I have no other questions in chat. Is there anyone who has any questions for any of our presenters, not only Dr. Moreno? This would be a good time to send them in. Another question for you, Dr. Moreno. Is the health department doing anything differently to try to curb the spread of the virus, or are we doing the things we've been doing all along?
So,
status quo.
Sure. So, the most effective way for our community to slow the spread of the virus is to continue to stay home, unless we absolutely need to leave our house, and also importantly stay home if we have symptoms of COVID-19. And then, of course, washing our hands frequently and using face coverings and keeping distance away from people who aren't from our household. So those are things that are still effective. In terms of, are we doing anything different? There are things that we're doing differently as time goes on. One of the things that Rick Encarnacion just mentioned from environmental health is important, and that is people shouldn't be discarding their masks and gloves inappropriately, and that's important too, because if people are using face coverings and then they leave a store, say, and they drop the face covering on the parking lot, well, that person may have just spent the last hour breathing into that mask, and the virus could accumulate in the mask, and so someone's going to have to eventually pick that up and discard it. And we wouldn't want people who are working hard cleaning up face masks and gloves to be unnecessarily exposed to COVID-19. So make sure that you dispose of people, we need to make sure we all dispose of gloves and masks in a proper way, so that we don't inadvertently expose other people. So there's a lot of things, there are several things going on in our health department, and that's just one of them. So thanks.
Thank you. Another question for you. How many school waiver applications has the health department received so far?
Thanks. So we received a couple, but they're not, I'm still in the process of reviewing, and I'll need to work with those schools moving forward. And again, I encourage any other school principals or heads of school who are interested in starting the school or resuming in-person instruction to get their applications in as soon as possible, so we have time to review them and get back to the school to discuss any issues that we may have with them.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Moreno. And the question, can you define a couple?
2.
Perfect. Any other questions for any of our presenters on the briefing today? Giving a second for any questions to come in chat and not hearing anything. Then that will wrap up our briefing for today. Thanks everyone for being on the call. We had a lot of great information. Our next briefing will be Friday, and we'll see you then.
All right. Bye, Mia.
Bye-bye.
Bye,
Mia.
Bye.
Bye, Rick.
Bye.